Al-Kahf. I would like to welcome all of you. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam wa ashabul ajma'in wa ummuhatul mu'mineen. Inshallah, we will be now starting the, as I said, the third part of Surah Al-Kahf with another story and lots of lessons to learn today, inshallah. I will be doing my recitation from ayah number 27 till ayah number 44. So if you want to read along with me, you're very welcome with your mushaf or phones, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واتل ما أوحي إليك من كتاب ربك لا مبدل لكلماته ولن تجد من دونه ملتحدا واصبر نفسك مع الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداوة والعشي يريدون وجهه ولا تعد عينك عنهم تريد زينة الحياة الدنيا ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع وكان أمره فروطا وقل الحق من ربك فمن شاء فليؤمن ومن شاء فليكفر إنا أعتدنا للظالمين نارا أحاط بهم سرادقها وأن يستغيثوا يغاثوا بماء كالمهل يشوي الوجوه بئس الشراب وساءت مرتفقا إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات إنا لا نضيع أجر من أحسن عملا أولئك لهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتهم الأنهار يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ويلبسون ثيابا خضرا من سندوس وإستبرق متكين فيها على الأرائك نعم الثواب وحسنت مرتفقا واضرب لهم مثل الرجلين جعلنا لأحدهما جنتين من أعناب وحففناهما بنخل وجعلنا بينهما زرعا كلتا الجنتين آتت أكلها ولم تظلم منه شيئا وفجرنا خلالهما نهرا وكان له ثمر فقال لصاحبه وهو يخابره أنا أكثر منك مالا وأعز نفرا ودخل جنته وهو ظالم لنفسه قال ما أظن أن تبيد هذه أبدا وما أظن الساعة قائمة ولئن رددت إلى ربي لأجدن خيرا منها منقلبا قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره أكفرت بالذي خلقك من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم سواك رجلا لكن هو الله ربي ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا ولولا إذ دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله إن تراني أنا أقل منك مالا وولدا فعسى ربي أن يؤتياني خيرا من جنتك ويرسل عليها حسبانا من السماء فتصبح سعيدا زلقا أو يصبح ماؤها غورا فلن تستطيع له طلبا وأحيط وأحيط بثمره فأصبح يقلب كفيه على ما أنفق فيها وهي خاوية على عروشها ويقول يا ليتني لم أشرك بربي أحدا ولم تكن له فئة ينصرونه من دون الله وما كان منتصرا هنالك الولايات لله الحق هو خير ثوابا وخير عقبا صدق الله العظيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Okay, and recite what has been revealed to you, O Muhammad. Of your Lord's book, none can change his words, and none will you find as refuge other than him. After telling the whole story of the people of the cave, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding and warning his messenger to relate exactly what is being revealed to him, meaning that the knowledge of unseen is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the source of all knowledge. No one has the ability to relate or describe in a better way than the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it says that none will you find as refuge other than him, meaning that do not worry about the reaction of what you are relating. You have full confidence that your safeguarding is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is your protector. You carry on doing your job and you do not get scared of the reaction they will show you, because they're going to show you a bad reaction. But fear not. I am, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, I am with you. Your refuge is with me. So who can be scared if they know that their refuge is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And keep yourself, O Muhammad, patiently with those who call on their Lord morning and afternoon, seeking his face, and let not your eyes overlook them, desiring the pomp and glitter of the life of the world, and obey not him whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, and who follows his own lust, and whose affairs have been lost. I would request the sisters that they do read the ayats in front of them. We have made these slides and presentation very simple. Try to have as less photographs as possible so that sisters can read the meaning as I'm explaining them. You will find some typing mistakes here, which I will point out, inshallah. Now, this verse belongs to one of the key protections from the fitna of Dajjal. I would recommend to print it and stick it on your fridge for regular reminder. The verse 28. There is a little story with it recorded by Imam Muslim as an authentic hadith. it was said that this was revealed about the nobles of Quraysh when they asked the Prophet ﷺ to sit with them on his own. They wanted to talk to Prophet ﷺ about the religion that he is presenting. They wanted to tell him that he should leave that. They were trying their best to deter his mission. But they asked him, they said, is it possible if you can sit with us yourself? We don't want your companions with you. And why did they say that? Because at that time, Prophet ﷺ was accompanied by some of his companions for this meeting. And the companions were Sayyidina Bilal and Sayyidina Ammar, Suhaib, Khabbab, Ibn Mas'ud, radiyallahum ajma'in. All of these companions that I've named, they were with poor and weak backgrounds. Some of them were slaves and some of them were servants and quite poor. And the Quraysh, the nobles of Quraysh, they wanted Prophet ﷺ to sit with them on his own. They didn't want it with the arrogance. They didn't want it to sit with these nobodies, you know. But Allah forbade the Prophet from doing that. And he said, and keep yourself patiently with those who call on their Lord morning and afternoon, seeking his face. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned us by warning his messenger that do not admire or envy or get overwhelmed by the status and wealth of people who are foolish enough to ignore the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow only the glitter of their world, this world. And coming to the fitna of Dajjal, which is all about material wealth and having more and more and more and drowning ourselves in our own desires. Although this was always a human desire to accumulate wealth or to follow the glitter, but now it is in our time, it is more addictive due to the technology, as it only requires a touch of a button to find out, you go in a different world, find out people's net worth. And why do we need to know people's net worth? We should only need to know our own net worth. How much we how much we have. Why we worried about so and so celebrity, how much he has. And also people are more engrossed and more addictive how many followers I'm going to have. A lot of people are doing a lot of things online and TikToks and Insta, and they're obsessed about how many followers they're going to have. The only thing that can protect us from is to sit down or to surround ourselves with like-minded people who will constantly remind us to spend our valuable time seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This morning, I had a halqa face-to-face, and I so much look forward. All week, I look forward to be with my sisters. That is one of the blessing to be face-to-face. I know that online we get information and we try our best. We've been doing it for the last 5 years. We've been doing it live sessions. So sisters can write down in chat room. So they have the feel that they belong to this little circle every week. But you cannot beat the face-to-face. You cannot beat the cup of tea afterwards and a little chit chat. And you talk a lot about safeguarding ourselves. And one of the blessing is to be with the like-minded people. They all know their direction. They all know which way they want to go and which way they are going. So may Allah make us among those people who sit with the people who remind us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen. And say, O Prophet, this is the truth from your Lord, Whoever wills, let them believe, and whoever wills, let them disbelieve. Surely we have prepared for the wrongdoers a fire whose wall will completely surround them. When they cry for aid, they will be aided with water like molten metal, which will burn their faces. وأن يستغيثوا يغاثوا بماء كالمهل يشوي الوجوه. The Arabic word muhl has several lexical meanings. According to some people, it means residue of oil. According to others, it means lava, which is formed by melting of things under the earth, in the earth. According to others, it is molten matter, and according to some, it is pus and blood. And the reason I'm telling you this, that you will find all of these translation in different translations. So it could be, it somewhere it will say for the same ayah, it will say pus and blood, and for the same ayah, it will say molten matter, or some other translation will say lava. So don't get confused. The beauty and the magic of Arabic language is that it is extremely versatile. There is no living language at the moment which is that much versatile as Arabic is. Okay, so I did not. Sorry about not putting this screen. Okay. As for those who believe and do good deeds, we shall not cause their rewards to be lost. They shall dwell in the gardens of eternity, beneath which streams flow. There they will be adorned with bracelets of gold, will be arrayed in green garments of silk and rich brocade, and will recline on raised couches. How excellent is their reward, and how nice their resting place. In Quran, you will find, when you are doing the recitation of Quran with the meaning, you will find that there is a mention. If there is a mention of hell, immediately there will be a mention of paradise. And if there is a mention of paradise, then straight away there will be a warning of hell. So Allah gave us information and then leave the choice to us. So constantly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the information of both things, both choices, and then leave it to us to choose which one we want to choose. May Allah make us among those who are choosing the right roads, who are choosing who are wise and using their wisdom and choosing the right path, inshallah. Now we come to the second story of Surah Al-Kahaf. And this story was not among the questions asked to Prophet ﷺ, which was the reason this surah was revealed. This story was not among those questions. This story is put in by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for extra information and for teaching us extra protection against doom and trials. And put forward to them the example of two men. Unto one of them we had given two gardens of grapes, and we had surrounded both with date palms, and had put between them green crops, that is, cultivated fields. Each of those gardens brought forth its produce, and failed not in the least therein, and we caused a river to gush forth in midst of both. And he had thamar. Thamar is mainly translated as fruit, but it can be translated, it can be taken as wealth as well. And he had thamar, and he said to his companion in the course of discussion, I am greater than you in wealth and have a mightier entourage. Now, After mentioning the idolaters who were too arrogant to sit with the poor and weak companions of the Prophet ﷺ, Allah then gives a parable for them of two men, one of whom Allah gave two gardens of grapes, surrounded with palm trees and cultivated with crops throughout. All of the trees and plants were abundantly fruitful, providing readily accessible, good quality produce. Now, it gives us the picture of a lush and well organized fruit and produce farm. It had good irrigation system and an army of workers busy in it. And in this, man, no, in this case, there were two such farms adjoining to each other. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him two farms. He had two farms adjoining to each other. And there's a possibility that the stream was, because it says among them was a stream. So stream was going in between, and one side was one farm and the other side was the other farm. On top of this ample yield of fruit and grain that this man's land brought forth, Allah further blessed him by causing sweet water to gush forth in the middle of the two gardens. So we know that naturally gushing sweet water stream is priceless treasure in agriculture. So basically, Allah blessed this man with an inviolable amount of wealth, a kind of wealth that promised complete freedom from want and worry, of physical hardship such as hunger, as well as financial hardship such as death, and which was beautiful to behold and dwell in as well. So can you count all these blessings? There's so much Allah gave this person. Which one of us wouldn't like to own such gardens? I don't mind. However, Allah does test us by taking away our blessings, but what most of us do not realize, how He subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us also by granting us innumerable and inviolable assets in order to see how we handle it, and in particular, what belief we harbor in our heart during this test. Why do you think, I'm going to ask you a question, I haven't asked you a question for a while. Why do you think the test of blessing is more difficult than the test of lack of blessing? Do you understand my question? Why do you think? Because they're both tests. When we do not have a blessing, that's a test for us. And when we have a blessing, we sometimes misunderstand. We think this is a reward. This can be a reward. But if we are in this world, it has to have a test in it. The total reward is only in the hereafter, when there is no element of test in it, because poverty humbles us. Excellent, Rim. It humbles us because not only poverty, Rim, not only poverty, it could be health. It could be, may Allah give everybody good health, and may Allah heal those who are going through bad health. But poverty, bad health, it could be people don't have children and they are struggling to have children. It could be relationship problems. It could be anything which is in a hardship. And when we are in a hardship, we are more close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We think the good things are down to our skills, work, talent. Yes, we can go close to Allah. Yes. When times are good. Yeah, okay. Yes, Tanya, now I understand what you mean. Yes, when times are good, we associate it with us. And when times are not good, we complain it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Uh, you can those of you who have come from a culture, Asian culture or Arab culture, or You would know when I say the difference between a funeral and a wedding. In a funeral, when our dear and near have passed away, we are so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our attire, the way we're dressed up, what we are eating, how we are talking, there is a lot of connection happening with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is a lot of du'as happening, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now compare it when one of the family member is getting married. There, everybody is invited apart from Allah and His Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is extravagant. There is can be a vulgarity because music can bring vulgarity. There is there's many things. I don't want to take too much of time. You understand now. When times are bad, it's much easier to get connected. But the hard test is when times are good, how difficult it is to connect ourselves with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Acha. Okay. And he went into his garden while having been unjust to himself. While having been unjust to himself. Remember that. He said, I do not think that this will ever perish. And I do not think the hour will ever come. The hour, what do you mean by hour? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean by hour? The hour is always whenever there is an uh, translation, an hour, that means the day of resurrection, the end of time. The hour will ever come, and if indeed I am brought back to my Lord, I surely shall find better than this when I return to him. He stated that he never thought that his garden would perish, nor that there would be any afterlife beyond the current life of this world, and hence no reckoning. And if any chance there was a reckoning, even though he believed that there wouldn't be, he is not going to be answerable to anybody. But if there is any slim chance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do take his reckon, take his account, and that he was brought back to his creator, note that he said Rabbi. That is, he admitted that he had a Rabb. He had a creator, a Rabb. Even if he is brought back, which is a slim chance according to him, he believes that he would be blessed with an even better state than that what Allah has already given him in this world. Because why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he is done unjust to himself? Because he is misunderstanding his test. He thinks that Allah has favored him upon other person. Allah has favored. If Allah has given me that much, that means Allah loves me and Allah has favored. That's exactly what the polytheist of Makkah used to tell the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Well, who's got sons? We or you? Who's got more wealth? We or you? Who's got the summer house in houses and gardens and farms in Taif, which was a little away from Mecca. It was a holiday resort. It was agricultural place. Taif. It still is. And they used to tell him that you've got nothing and you think that you're a prophet. Why can't one of us be a prophet? We've got everything. It shows that Allah loves us and Allah favor us more. This is the huge misunderstanding that we have in us. And this is really linked with the fitna of Dajjal. And I do not think that, okay, hold on a minute. And his friend answered, His friend answered him in the course of their argument, do you deny him who has created you out of dust and then out of a drop of sperm and in the end has fashioned you into a complete man? Now we have another character to the story. He is the neighbor or friend or companion of Mr. Rich Guy. And from his conversation, we found out that unlike his rich companion, he is a believing and God fearing wise person. The first thing that he pointed out to Mr. Rich was to ask him how he could deny or reject the one who created him from a mere dust and a mere drop of sperm, then fashioned that fertilized sperm drop into a full human being. See how he is doing the dawah from basic, putting him down by the basic reality, you know. He uses the word akafarta, which is from kafara. قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره أكفرت بالذي. And kafara means to conceal, to deny, disacknowledge the favors and benefits of, to reject, or to be ungrateful. This means that if anyone who believes that their worldly wealth and possessions will never wane, and that the day of resurrection will not be established, and that they will never be returned to their Creator, they are denying the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon them. So, hence, they are committing kufr and shirk. Actually, they are committing kufr as well as shirk, because kufr means denying it. Okay. But as for myself, I know that he is God, he is my Rabb, my sustainer, and I cannot associate divine powers to any but my sustainer. لكنه الله ربي ولا أشرك بربي أحدا. Now the companion went on to proclaim his own faith in Allah and stressed that he didn't associate any partners with him. He used the word shirk. Ushrik bi Rabbi ahada. Why is that? Mr. Rich did not say that he associate partners with Allah. Mr. Rich never said that. He said, my Rabb. He wasn't denying Allah, but his wise partner, his wise companion, when he is criticizing him, he is saying that you have committed a shirk. You are associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why did he use the word shirk and accuse him of associating any partners with him to Mr. Rich Guy? Any thoughts? Because Mr. Rich denies the akhirah, and that after our death we will be brought to life again and will be answerable to Allah for our time in this dunya. He was clearly denying that. When someone denies that we will be resurrected again after we have mingled with dust, this is the result of lack of belief in Allah's power of capabilities. This is because of not recalling how, this is forgetting how he created us in the first place. In today's age, this age, when the entire process of creation from conception to birth has been clearly researched and documented, there is no place for any doubt in Allah's absolute power of creativity. Remember that this surah is associated with the protection from the tests and trials, specifically of Dajjal. And the culture of the Dajjal has started. The fitna is yet to come. The fitna of the culture has started, but the actual fitna of the Dajjal is yet to come. And even now, technology has proved so much. There's so much to prove. The cosmic, if you go see this, look at the sky, there are so much being understood and proved, and embryology and things like that. They are evidence now. Denying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power of creation is your own stupidity, basically. And you know that in Quran, the first most mentioned and repeated topic is, can you guess? Can you do a little brainstorming, looking at time as well? What is the most mentioned and repeated topic in Quran? Of course, Quran repeats a lot. You will find that Quran repeats topics a lot. And the more Quran repeats, the more important that topic is. Okay. So what do you think? What is the most repeated topic? People who deny the truth? No, that is not the most repeated topic, Rim. Okay, the most repeated topic in Quran is Tawheed, the absolute oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the core belief of Islam. That is the main pillar that the whole building is standing. So Tawheed is being repeated in different shapes and forms in Quran, with different examples as well in Quran. The second most repeated topic in Quran is, any other guess? Go on, do a little brainstorming. The second most repeated topic in Quran, which is the second pillar of Islam, is the belief and the acceptance that there is a full life after death and there is an accountability after that. Without these two beliefs, the whole system gets crushed. So it is vital. And the third belief, and the most repeated, is the authenticity of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Shirk, Tanya, is part of Tawheed. So opposite of Tawheed is Shirk. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about Tawheed, is automatically, as I said, Quran always give a comparison. So Shirk then comes straight away after Tawheed. But Tawheed is the main topic in Quran. The Akhirah is the second main topic in Quran. Okay. And that shows the importance of these. Okay. Now we go to, and he continued, alas, if you had but said on entering your garden, this is what Allah has willed. If you look at the screen, there is a typing error in this, and I've only found it a few minutes away. It says, whatever Allah wills. The Arabic is, ولولا إذ دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله. Ma sha Allah, and we're going to discuss it in a minute. Ma sha Allah is when Allah has already willed something good. When a blessing has already been willed, it's been in a process. Okay. That is Masha, MashaAllah. So instead of saying whatever Allah wills is inshallah. So instead of that, it should say on the screen, this is what Allah has willed for me. So instead, he is saying that you should have said when you enter your garden, this is what Allah has willed for me. MashaAllah, Allah has willed this blessing for me. Um, and there is no power except with Allah. La quwwata illa billah. Although, as you see, I have less wealth and offsprings than you. And then he is saying that although I have less blessings than you, but I understand the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the akhirah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I understand how to what to say when we get the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet it may well be that my sustainer will give me something better than your garden, just as he, subhanahu wa ta'ala, may let loose a calamity out of heaven upon your garden, so that it becomes a heap of barren dust. Or its water sinks deep, into the ground so that you will never be able to find it again. The verse finish up till again. The rest of the writing is the commentary, is our commentary. It's not verse. There are some, I'm very, very sorry, but there are some typing mistakes and writing mistakes. That's what happened when you're typing it, 1 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes that's what happened. May Allah accept and may Allah forgive my mistakes and accept these humble efforts, inshallah. So I will repeat verse 41, or its water sinks deep into the ground so that you will never be able to find it again. You know, the believer guy is straight away correcting and teaching the rich guy the manners of praising and thanking Allah when counting his blessings. Simple, you know. What an intelligent and well thought out argument and proof he is putting. And I've done dawa in previous years. And what struck me most, I'm going to ask you a question. What is the difference between this guy and us? We all want to do dawa. We all want to say good things. And we don't like when people are saying things like that, arrogant things, you know. We don't like it. But how he has presented the argument, you know, answered him. What is the difference between him and us? Any thought? Most of us will feel shy to correct him and introduce to him the right belief. And that is so true. It doesn't matter how learned you are. Most of us feel shy. And that shows our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we want to enhance our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it's not as strong. If we still feel shy correcting people, there are manners to correct as well. It's highly not liked that people just pick a stick and say haram, haram, haram. You know, otherwise you won't have anybody close to you. But there are ways and manners and style of correcting people. You just connect them straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? May Allah make us among those who are blessed with such pure, uncontaminated, monotheistic beliefs in their heart. Ameen, ameen. Okay, let's have a quick look. We have learned 2 more words as manners for Muslims. The first one we learned in previous session, we learned inshallah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you don't say I'm going to do it tomorrow. You say inshallah if Allah wills. And nothing happens without Allah wills. And today we have learned, mashallah, when Allah has already willed the blessing. It's been done through. It's been given okay by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La quwwata illa billah, there is no might or power than Allah. And these words or these manners we should use in our daily life. We should. Okay. The believing guy went on reminding the rich guy the will and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how Allah can change the picture in seconds. If Allah wants, He can send down a husban, a calamity from the sky, an unshakable destructive force, such as storm or hurricane, that could instantly cause the whole garden to come to an end and um, become ruins. Because in the further one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, and so all his produce was totally ruined, so that he started to wring his hands for all he had spent on it, while it has collapsed on its trellises. He cried, Alas, I wish I had never associated anyone with my Lord in worship. Now, as I was saying, that the believer gave him a warning that, look, if you are unthankful, it takes Allah seconds to change the whole scenery. It will only take Allah few minutes, few seconds, instant, to send a husban, to send a hurricane or a calamity, not hurricane, a calamity in the shape of, could be a storm, could be a hurricane from the sky, he said. And everything is finished, gone. Okay, big destruction. And now I want to show you this photograph. As you all well aware of it, one side is the destruction of Gaza, and the other side is the fire of LA. We chose the one in the night time while the fire was going on, but there are photographs taken from the drones on helicopters, and there are miles and miles and miles and miles of destructive area which has been eaten up by the fire, subhanallah. And the destruction of Gaza, what's the difference between these two? The destruction of Gaza was done by human beings, by other human beings. And this was one of the most poorest and one of the most needy area of the world. They used to call it open prison, and there were so much restriction in this area. And this destruction was systematically done over 15 months, as you all know, by human beings. The other destruction happened by natural forces, forces that are working for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do not deny the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this happens in minutes. The other one happened in 15 months. This happens in minutes. And this was one of the most richest areas of the world. A lot of rich people and a lot of mansions were there. So Allah can change the picture instantly if He wants. So we should never, the big lesson is that we should never be too satisfied when we've got a lot of blessings. We don't want to be scared, but we want to keep thanking Allah, and we want to keep asking Him to make it easy for us. I'm very conscious of the time as well. Okay, nor had he numbers to help him against Allah. I know he had no manpower to help him against Allah, nor could he even help himself. Let me read this again. And he had no manpower to help himself against Allah, nor could he even help himself. Okay, now the next ayah. So it's very self-explanatory that all those people working in his garden, in his land, there's nobody to come and help him. We don't know exactly what happened. Um, and he can't even help himself. He's lost everything. He's lost all material. He's lost everything. I think I'm missing some of the ayah. And he had no manpower to help him against Allah, nor could he even help himself. At this time, support comes only from Allah, the true Lord. He is best in reward and best in outcome. Okay, that was missing in my notes. And now something is missing on your notes as well. So, verse 44 is missing. At this time, support comes only from Allah, the true Lord. He is best in reward and best in outcome. Okay, now I understand. I've joined both the ayats together. 43 and 44 is in front of you. So in the past, although he boasted of his surplus number of employees and helpers, none of them could help him even little bit against the destructive force that ruined his garden. And he was now just a picture of total regret. This is a very scary reminder of the day of judgment when, according to the choices we have made in this life, we can be just a big regret. May Allah save us from that situation. Allah sums this story up by reminding that protection, reward, and opportunities only come from Allah. Now, lessons to learn from the story of the two gardens. Let's quickly see the lessons. The first and the foremost is that wealth is a blessing, but it is also a test. Although we should not think that it is a bad thing, however, to have excess wealth is a bad thing. We shouldn't think it that way, that it's a bad thing. But the love of material and desire to accumulate more and more, that is the bad thing, you know. And this is going to be one of the easiest distraction and major test in during the fitna of the Dajjal. Is already, wealth and accumulation of wealth and material is big thing now. That's all there is these days. When a God-fearing, Allah-fearing person is given, uh, when a God-fearing person is given much wealth by Allah, it can lead them to do more good at a global and far-reaching scale and help thousands of less fortunate people. However, the making, managing, guarding of this wealth can consume a lot of time and energy and can distract us, neglecting our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, a God-fearing, wealthy person make himself a good uh, time manager and a multitasker. He doesn't want to distract himself or waste himself too much um, mm, due to his wealth. That's what the learning is. And the last is that one shouldn't brag. I suppose this lesson was obvious from the Quranic parable story from the start. If you want to show off a blessing to others as soon as you acquire it, try to kill that urge. You know? Also, remember that someone who is poorer than you right now can become much wealthier and have a better social status just few years down the road. So don't brag, that we have to teach our children as well. One thing I must say that in today's age, bragging has become part of our lifestyle. Facebook is a place that people often show off their blessings as a very normal thing. Their holiday resorts, new car, so much so that I have seen sisters who are wives showing off their birthday and wedding anniversary gifts from their husband. For goodness sake, that is such a private thing. If your husband has given you a ring or a bracelet or a bunch of flowers or perfume or bought you a handbag, whatever, husbands know what their wives likes, or, you know, I don't know. I'm taking these words back. I'm not mentioning anything. Just ignore what I've mentioned. Anyway, if your spouse, if your husband has given you any gift, you don't have to tell the rest of the world. It is for you, you know. I found it unbelievable when people are sending their photographs of this is what I got. And then Umrah and Hajj selfies. This is a worship between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why we have to advertise it? Why we throw parties after Umrah, and Hajj? Why we have to buy gifts? Why we have to buy tasbih and a praying mat? Wasting so much of our time. Okay, the dates and the water Zamzam is fine because they're healing. That's a good gift. But but throwing parties and making a big hoo-ha it's a worship between you and Allah. Um, it has become like a spiritual holiday, then a spiritual kind of, a special kind of worship. Okay. Now I have requested 15 more minutes. If you have noticed in the link, Rim has asked because the topic is quite large, and I knew I will not be able to finish it in 1 hour. So I do apologize for taking that much time. Now, um, now start a small sermon on the importance of life after death. So there is a sermon that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a lot of the ayats are self-explanatory. You don't need big explanation on these ayats. You just need imagination. Okay. And give them a parable of this worldly life. It is like the plant of the earth thriving when sustained by the rain we sent down from the sky. Then they soon turn into chaff scattered by the wind, and Allah is fully capable of doing all things. Now, this example is given to highlight that this life will end and another life will start. And Allah has given such examples many, many, many times in Quran. And that all these examples takes you, the reference is hereafter. Wealth and children are the adornment of this worldly life, but the everlasting good deeds are far better with your Lord in reward and in hope. And the good deeds has to be according to what Quran says a good deed is. So we can't choose our own good deeds. The good deeds, the Amle Salihat, has to be according to the Quran. And it says the wealth and children are the adornment of this worldly life. They are the fun and beauty of this life. But they can be one of the most difficult tests. May Allah save us to to put us with a test with a test of our children. But that's one of the hardest tests in life, when you have to decide whether you want to take your child's side or whether you want to submit yourself to your Lord, because probably it might be going to different direction. And may Allah do not give us that as mothers and as parents. But this is a very norm thing in our lives now. Um, May Allah safeguard all our children and put them on the right path, inshallah. May Allah make them the leaders of this ummah. We've got enough followers. We need lots of leaders now, inshallah. Be aware of the day we will blow the mountains away, and you will see the earth laid bare, and we will gather all humankind, leaving none behind. It's a very graphic painting done or picture done. They will be presented before your Lord in rows, and the deniers will be told, you have surely returned to us all alone as we created you the first time, although you always claim that we would never appoint a time for your return. Can you feel a hint of satire here for all those who deny the akhirah and who lived in this life as slaves of their own desire? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as if, can you close your eyes and imagine the deniers in this world, the deniers of akhirah are presented in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, so you have arrived now, just the way you left, we created you for the first time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. Were we clothed when we came out from our mummy's tummies? We were naked. And so we will be in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what our position is. You know, one of our teacher, he was, may Allah bless him, he was such a good teacher. He used to give us lectures, and then he used to give us practical things. And once he told us, and we were all women, and he, online teaching, and he told us, he said, I know that women like having lots of jilbabs and lots of dresses. There's no denying of that. Um, what I want you to do is to go out and look for 2 white sheets, press them, hang them on your hanger, and stick it right in the middle of your wardrobe. When you are choosing a dress to wear, you will see these 2 white sheets, which will be your last clothing and your ever, clothing for a very long time. And we were like so scared. And some of the sisters did it, and I just chickened out, saying that I don't have a shop near me to buy 2 white sheets. Um, but yes, we will all be as our natural state, going in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There won't be any pride left. May Allah make that day very easy on us, inshallah. And the record of the deed will be laid up open, and you will see the wicked in fear of what is written in it. They will cry, wow, to us. What kind of record is this that does not leave any sin, small or large, unlisted? They will find whatever they did present before them, and your Lord will never wrong anyone. Now, it is said that on the day of judgment, people will be arguing, the disbelievers will be arguing with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as their last chance. And our hands and our other bodily part will talk, Allah will make them talk, and that can testify against us. May Allah save us from that time, and may Allah make all our bodily part testify in favor of us. Oh yes, they were reading Quran, and they were sitting together, whether it was online or face to face. They were trying their best to understand your words. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah save us that difficult time. And remember, when we said to the angels, prostrate before Adam, so they did, but not Iblis. Iblis was the main Satan. Who is the main Satan? Who was one of the jinn, but he rebelled against the command of his Lord. Would you then take him and his descendant as patron instead of me, although they are your enemy? What an evil alternative for the wrongdoers to choose. The command to prostrate was a test of disobedience. Shaitan arrogantly refused to comply because he believed he was superior to Adam, arguing that Adam was made of mud while he was made of fire. So that's the arrogance that came in. It's a story packed with lessons, and we hope that we can cover the creation of Adam and the rebel of Shaitan some other time, inshallah. I never called them to witness the creation of the heavens and the earth, or even their own creation, nor would I take the misleaders as helper. This message for all the disbelievers who obey the commands of Shaitan. Allah is saying that that Shaitans were not entitled to this to submission and worship. Only Allah is, for they had no share in any of the creations of the heavens and the earth, not even in their own creation. Therefore, it is only Allah who is worthy of our submission and our worship. And be aware of the day when He, subhanahu wa ta'ala, will say, call upon those you claim were my associate gods. So they will call them, but will receive no response, and we will make them all share in the same doom. Um, During the process of accountability, Allah, of course, will be the most just. He will give full chance to all the sinners to defend themselves. And they may call their so-called gods, and they will call in desperation, they will call. They say, but didn't you tell us that you are the Lord? No, but no one will come to their aid. The wicked will see the fire and realize that they are bound to fall into it and will find no way to avoid it. Allahumma ajarna minan nar, Allahumma ajarna minan nar. Oh Allah, save us from that fire. We have surely set forth in this Quran every kind of lesson for people, but humankind is the most argumentative of all beings. One of the names of Quran is Al-Shafa, the healing. It has the healing of all diseases of the heart and the body as well. And the body as well. It has the answer for all our troubles. Yet we choose to ignore it and try to get help from those who themselves are in need of help. We've got such a little tawakkul in Allah. We were talking this morning in our halqa. We would, if we are in a trouble, we would go around checking all the possibilities, and when nothing works, then we start praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And nothing prevents people from believing when guidance comes to them and from seeking their Lord's forgiveness, except their demand to meet the same fate of earlier deniers, or that the torment would confront them face to face. This verse highlights the human tendency to resist change and accept the truth only when faced with extreme circumstances. So they only accept the truth when there is no other choice left. We are generally doubtful and hesitant to embrace good, either due to our preconceived notions and beliefs, or fear of unknown. Fear of unknown is one of the biggest deterrent of jumping into the truth. And the past experiences and the past stories, past notions and preconceived from our ancestors. So those are the two things. But remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when describing that Dajjal will have water and fire, water in one hand and fire, and his water will be his fire, and his fire will be his water, meaning that the coolness and the water is cool, and water quench your thirst, and water benefit you. So things that you think will benefit us and are beneficial and good for us, they will be the bad things, and they will lead to the hellfire. And things that we feel are not good for us, that is the fire, the bad, um, that will be actually leading to to paradise. So it is very important to have the right knowledge, and do not hesitate when we know the truth has come. Do not hesitate. um, we do not send the messenger except as deliverer of good news and warner, but the disbelievers argue in falsehood, hoping to discredit the truth with it and make a mockery of my revelation and warning. And who is more wicked than the man who, when he is reminded by the revelation of his Lord, turn away from them and forget the consequences of the deed done by his own hands. We have laid veils over their hearts so that they do not understand the message of Quran, and we have caused heaviness in their ear. This is one of this verse came for one of the polytheists of Mecca who behaved in a very arrogant way and turned away from Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that we have laid veil over their hearts so that they do not understand um, the message of the Quran. What does that mean? We have laid veils over their heart, and we have caused heaviness in their ear. I'm just looking at the chat table, iftar table spread. Yes, Tanya, very interesting. Okay, Tanya. All right, no problem. I'm finishing in 2 minutes. Um, What it means is that this is a curse from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it only happens when someone is being reminded of the truth again and again and again due to his arrogance and ego. Then Allah will make his heart seal from understanding or comprehending the truth. Um, Allah will never seal anybody's heart just like that. The message of truth will keep coming, and that person keep rejecting it. And that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say, enough is enough. Now you have no turning point. That's it. Now you will not understand. You won't be able to hear the truth. Uh, you know, you only hear the words, but you will not be able to comprehend. And the great fitna of Dajjal will flourish and is flourishing due to such people who refuse to accept the truth. They will be the people, or they are the people who are helping to flourish this fitna. Your Lord is the all-forgiving, full of mercy. If he were to seize them immediately for what they commit, he would have certainly hastened their punishment, but they have an appointed time from which they will have no refuge, find no refuge. Do you know Allah do not seize us the minute we commit a sin or rebel against him? If we have lied, the tongue do not drop down. Or if you've done any other thing, the robbers rob every night, but his hands do not get, what you call it, disabled. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tons of time, but then there will be a point of no return that he has set for us, and only he knows its time. What we know that the point of no return is the time of resurrection, the time of Qiyamah. But there is a little Qiyamah before the big Qiyamah. Before the big catastrophe, there is a little catastrophe which is called death. Once we are dead, that's it. There is no point of return. Our Qiyamah starts. Our judgment, our accountability starts. So those are the societies we destroyed when they persisted in wrong, and we had set a time for their destruction. Quran is full of example of such communities. Does anybody remember any community mentioned, any nation mentioned in Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destroyed due to their arrogance and due to their rebellions and against, they don't want to listen to um, truth? Okay, that's the nation of Ad, the nation of Thamud, the people of Lut alayhi salam, and the people of Nuh alayhi salam. And here we finish, and I'm ever so sorry that I've asked extra time because the topic was too big. Um, there are two stories in the beginning of the Surah Al-Kahf, and there are two stories later. And in between is this sermon. So, it shows that Allah is giving us example how to protect ourselves, from the tests and trials um, in this world and in the hereafter. And in between is the information for us that what is the consequences of neglect, basically. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Inshallah, we will meet again, and that will be our last session, inshallah. It's